Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Rhodes here just to make sure we got our notes for this week. Because of testing, we're going to have some opportunities to come to class, but some of y'all are not going to be able to come to class because of testing. So we're going to complete the notes, and this will be a great tutorial and a great tool for you to use for your study. Okay, so we're starting to talk about surface area this week. And what we want to make sure we understand is that, first of all, surface area talks about how to cover something. And a good example of that would be like when you're wrapping a gift for a friend. The surface area would be what you wrap around the gift box. The volume, like we did last week and the week before, will be what you would put in the gift box. So we're going to talk about surface area real quick as a tool to figure out what covers certain shapes and how we can use those particular things to do it. Okay? So first things first. First things first. The surface area is the total covering. Covering on the surfaces of the surface of a three-dimensional object. Okay, and it'll always be measured in units squared. Okay. It'll always be measured in units squared. So, the first example I gave was like wrapping a gift. Rectangular prisms are made up of the following faces. They have two bases that are rectangular. It says it in the name, so the base is going to be rectangular. It says it in the name, rectangular prisms. In the lateral faces, there are four rectangular faces connecting the bases. Okay? And the height, right there is height, of the rectangular prism, or H, go ahead and box that, is the distance between the two bases. Okay, so we're going to talk about what the height is, how to identify the bases, and how to find the lateral and total surface area of those bases. So let's talk about this for just a second. So it wants us to shade the bases of each regular prism below. Then label H, the height of each prism. So let's see if we said this particular section here was our base. Okay. This bottom section here would also be our base. Okay, they're directly across from each other. Now, if those two are our bases, these four lines here, or one of those lines there, will represent the height. If you can tell, the height connects those two bases. Okay, go ahead and get that shaded. Alright, so since we found the height and the bases, we can do the same with the other figures. Let's say I put the height here. Let's say that particular side is the height. Okay. Remember, the height connects the two bases. So if we see that the height is going from side to side, then that means our two bases are on the sides. I'm going to go ahead and shade those in. Might be a little messy, but trying to get the understanding. So those heights are connected. That height connects the two bases. Okay, if that makes sense. Alright, let's look at the third one. Let's say I say that the height is here. Remember, that height is here, and the height is going vertically up and down. So that means those bases are always also up and down, on the top and on the bottom. The height is going from the top to the bottom. The bases are on the top and the bottom. Right. And then last but not least, let's say I said that this section here, or that line, was the height. If the height's here, remember that the two bases are connected to the height. So I understand that this side is also the height, but it connects the two bases. There's a base, and there's a base. So we want to make sure that we understand, if we can find the height, then we can locate the bases, and then we can use our formulas to go ahead and calculate both the lateral surface area and the total surface area. Okay, let's look at number 1. Josie is going to find the lateral surface area of the prism shown below. We want lateral surface area. We want lateral surface area. Lateral surface area. So A, what formula should she use? We're going to use the formula PH. Okay? And I'm going to write up here P, big P, the capital P, is equal to the perimeter of the base. It's the perimeter of the base. And then H is our height. Okay, this is just to find the lateral surface area. Okay, like I said before, there are two types of surface areas. There's lateral, which was number 1, and then we're going to talk about total surface area on number 2. So let's go ahead and let's find our height first. Alright, so it looks to me that 8 is our height. So I'm going to write that here for the value of H. 8 is our height, which gives me a good hint. If 8 is our height, and the height is going up and down from top to bottom, then our bases are also on the top and on the bottom. Let me go ahead and color those in right quick. Bases on the top, bases on the bottom. Now, if you can see, we have numbers here, 5 and 5. And because those numbers indicate that base there is a square, that means this side over here is also going to be 5, and this side right here is going to be 5. So when we find the perimeter, all we need to do is add up all the sides of our base. So I have 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Alright, and all those 5s give me 20. And now I can calculate the lateral surface area. Now that I have my value of P, which is 20, and now that I have my value of H, which is 8, I can put them in the formula. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll rewrite my formula. PH equals 20 is big P, and I put parentheses there to know that I'm substituting for H, which is 8. 20 times 8, 160. Okay, that's how you find the lateral surface area. Okay, we got to memorize this formula. Big P is the perimeter of the base, and H is the height. Okay, we found our height first, which was 8, and we figured out which faces they were connected to, and those faces became our bases. Alright, then we found the perimeter of the base by adding up all the sides. 4 5s give us 20. I multiply the 2, and I get 160. It's very simple. Very simple. I'm going to give you a second just to kind of take that in. Okay, now let's look at number 2. It says Drew is going to find the total surface area. So we know we're looking for the total surface area of the prism shown below. Alright? And again, it gives us 3 numbers. It's going to give us stuff to figure out. Alright? You can choose which one is going to be the height. Alright? I like for my height to go up and down. Right? So I'm going to choose 3 as my height. Before I do that, I'm going to write my formula. Now the formula for total surface area, the formula there, is this here. P H, which is lateral surface area, plus 2 times big B. And big B is the same as it was from last week. Big B is the area of the base. Remember, the base is not big B. The area of the base is big B. The base is not big P. The perimeter of the base is big P. Right? So because we have 2 bases to account for, like on the previous example, we're going to find our 2 bases. Now first thing we want to do is find our height. I'm going to use 3 as our height for this one. So H is 3. And that means, since my height is up and down, just like that, my height is up and down, that means this side here and this side here are my bases. And what's great is I already have the numbers to figure out how to find the value of P and the value of B. Well, we know the perimeter is to add up all the sides. So I have 11 and 4 as 2 of the sides of my base. I know this other side is going to be 4, and I know this last side is going to be 11. So when I find the perimeter, I'm just going to add all those together. Okay, so I have 11 plus 11 plus 4 plus 4. Okay, 11 and 11 give me 22. 4 and 4 give me 8. 22 and 8 is 30. Okay, and now let's find the value of big B. Remember, big B is length times width, because it's the area. Area is length times width. Well, it looks like my length is 11 equals 11 times, and my width is 4. 4. 11 times 4 is 44. So then I'm going to write this stuff in that form, right? So what's our big P? Our big P is 30, so I'll write 30, and I'm going to multiply that by our H, which is 3. Then I have plus 2, which just stays the same, times our big B is 44. That's right, 44 there. And then we put this in our calculator, or we can do it by hand. And you know, Mr. Rose likes to do it by hand. 30 times 3 is 90, plus 88, because 2 times 44 is 88, and that's going to give me 178. Okay. Okay, that's the first page of notes. Okay, I'm going to come right back and we're going to do the second page of notes in just a minute.